Hey guys, this is Ben here over at the Saltwater Edge. Today we're talking a bit about lures and baits to fish in rough water. It's the end of July now. We just had a little offshore storm pass. Was out last night, 3 to 5 foot waves, 10 mile an hour, 10, 15, 20 mile an hour winds. So got us thinking here. And as fall's approaching, we do have a lot of big weather. It's hurricane season or Easter season, so definitely want to be prepared. The thing I use most in these sort of conditions are bucktails. That shouldn't be much of a surprise to anyone who's really put in any time into fishing. I fish bucktails because with that lead head, it's a very small profile, so the wind doesn't really affect your casting all that much. One of the only things you can really fish in like a real nor'easter, and they hold in the water column really well if you're using the right weight. So that's pretty important. They get down, they stay down, and the fish just really like them. So, I mean, I fish anywhere between usually ounce and 2.5 ounces. A lot of the fishing I do is in deeper water, so I generally fish 1.5 ounces north, and then for shallower water, 1 ounce and 1.5 ounces. Got a bunch of different bucktails here. I like Andrus jetty casters are probably my favorite because they're most commercially available. They're pretty easy to get. They have a lot of hair, and they also have a really strong hook, which is important because those fish fight a lot harder in that white water and that big water. This is one made by our friend Ellis from Ledgelord Bucktails. Definitely check him out. He makes really high quality stuff. He's a great guy, and he's also a phenomenal fisherman. So definitely check him out. Something else I will fish too, pretty similar to a bucktail, is a soft plastic. I generally reach for the Fish Snacks Super Snacks on a jig head, and I generally fish them pretty similar to a bucktail. And if wind isn't a factor, this can be a good thing to put out there because they are a bigger profile than a bucktail. So sometimes you can cull out a larger fish, or if there's larger baits in the wash as well, then it imitates those well. I've done pretty well on these fishing around mullet in September. The next thing I fish are bottle plugs and bottle darters. These are really good because the lip design here gets them to dig in to the water, and then they stay and they hold up instead of really getting washed around. They cast really well, and like I said, they don't really wash out. There's a few different types I use. My favorite is the 2 ounce Goo Goo Man. They're a little bit harder to get. So if I know I'm going to be bouncing my plug around the rocks a lot, it's going to be getting banged up, I will save this for other times, and I'll opt for a Super Strike. It's plastic, don't really feel bad about getting it all messed up. And then the other one is a North Bar bottle darter. Pretty much does the same thing as these two here, just a little bit bigger of a profile. Yeah, works really well. Since I am mostly a nighttime fisherman, I do fish a lot of needlefish in big weather. I pretty much just fish Super Strike in these kind of conditions because they sink. They sink moderately fast. Their slowest sink one is the 1 3/4, which I'll fish in generally shallow. But as I'm fishing deeper water, I will fish the 3 ounce a lot. I use these in deeper water, obviously, because they sink like a rock. But you can also still fish these in shallow water and fish them just like a bucktail. And then I will also fish the 1 3/4, but I'll load it with 15 grams of birdshot. Basically what this does is it just makes another needle that is in between the sink rate of these two here. Not an original idea of mine. A friend of mine showed me it when I first started surf casting, And I believe there's still a video up on, I think it's Osprey Outdoors on YouTube from like 10 years ago on how to make these. So I use these a lot. And in general, they come with a 3.0 VMC 9626 out of the package, but I bump it up to at least a 4.0. And then I'll also use the Super Strike Bullet, the 2.5 ounce one. Probably the best casting lure out of all these here. Cuts through the wind really well, and it also sinks pretty fast, so it stays in the water column. Really good in the fall because it's a pretty similar profile to a peanut bunker. So I'll always carry these in big water. I will also fish darters if I am fishing somewhere that's tide swept. I mostly fish a 3-ounce darter like the Surf Asylum. This thing digs like 3 to 5 feet, and so it can get under the waves, and you can just dig it in and then let the current take it, and it does all the work on its own. And I'll also fish a Super Strike darter, the zigzag. Same idea. Doesn't dig as deep as the 3-ounce does, but if it can really work very well. These are kind of hard to get, so the closest thing that you can buy that's really commercially available would be like Tactical Angler's sub darter. I will also fish metal lips if the wind isn't too bad in my face, because they aren't the best casting lures, but I've had pretty good luck with medium diving metal lips like these 3 here. I fish the Gremlin a lot. He's a local Rhode Island guy. This is his Ely that I use the most. Digs like 2 to 4 feet or so. So can't fish it in the gnarliest of conditions, but you can still holds rough water pretty well. This is a bigger one of his. I believe it's a Donnie, I might be wrong. But this thing digs even deeper, probably down like 5 or 6 feet. And this thing casts actually really well. Definitely the best casting metal lip I have. So I'll carry this a lot. And then in the spring and fall, I like carrying something really big like this GRS. This you can either slow crawl on the surface, or you can swim it like you would one of these, and they hold really well in the white water, and it's obviously a big fish plug looking at it. And then the last things I'll fish are some sort of topwater. I don't do a whole lot of fishing during the daytime, but when I do like fishing up top. Probably my number one would be a Super Strike Little Neck Popper, either in the 2 3/8 ounce, which is this one, or in the 3 ounce. They also make a 2 3/4 ounce and a 3 3/4 ounce one, the Red Eyes, and these are slow sinking, so that's really good for big water because you're not going to be popping it out, and the plug isn't just going to be tossed around all the time. And they cast really well, and they come with a 2.0 on the belly, but I will put a cut 3.0 on there, and then a feather dressed single hook on the back. And you can also swim these as well, since it's a slow sink. If you just cast it out and reel painfully slowly, it'll stay up near the surface and just wiggle back and forth like a metal lip would. And in terms of pencil poppers, I pretty much just use the North Bar Flying Squid. This plug never really, it always casts straight, which is really nice. You can really get it out there, and it doesn't sink, but it does stay down in the water column pretty well, so it doesn't really pop out at all, like some other pencil poppers do. Yeah, I mean, I fish these a lot and they work really well. So that's everything I use pretty much. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and make sure to give us a follow. See you next time.